Settle for a second and we're going to leave it by a couple of minutes. So maybe we could just do roll call for that, right?
That'd be great.
Okay.
And the engagement of the campus, and in doing so, we are seeing very high levels of engagement, which includes fun things like Fall Fest and all of the other events that we've been having. But it also includes a higher level of awareness of spaces and our surrounding and concerns. And I've fielded a fair share of concerns from folks. And I thought that it would be appropriate in conversations with the academic senate, the classified senate, to have an entire college council meeting dedicated to the things that we do, both seen and a lot unseen, to ensure people's safety. And no matter the amount of amazing things that we do, the bottom line to everybody's safety is if we see something, we should say something. How many of you, by show of hands, have already downloaded the LiveSafe app? That's where it begins, folks. That's where it begins. And for those of you who are here, please go back into your offices, departments, and encourage people to download the LiveSafe app. There are a number of efforts underway to ensure people's health and safety, and I will turn it over, thereby abandoning the official agenda, or shall I say we have one agenda item for today's College Council. I'll turn it over to John Parker, our Vice President of Administrative Services, who oversees the college's Health and Safety Committee. Dr. Parker.
Thank you, Ricky, and thank you everyone for being here today for our College Council's Health and Safety Forum. I hope you can appreciate the informal setting rather than being at the board table in this room, and we estimated just about the right size just to make it a nice intimate crowd. And as Ricky was explaining, safety, it's proactive. It's everyone's job. It's being proactive. It's anticipating. It's kind of like insurance, and it is risk management. And we do take it very seriously, and that is our #1 priority. There have been many initiatives for the past couple of years, all of which we will be highlighting. The past initiatives and initiatives going forward to ensure not only your safety, but the safety of our students and the overall surrounding community, which includes obviously a lot of high school students from our neighboring high schools that are on our campus. So our team, today, we're missing a couple of members, but it will be myself and we'll do a formal intro as they're coming up. Acting Lieutenant Stone, who has joined us, Jay Purnell, Leslie Easton in the back, and Elaine Ng, who will be joining us any minute. And we're filling in also for Roxanne Solis, who is out today, and John Boyce, who is also out. So these are the initiatives and updates that we will be providing today regarding initiatives, facilities updates, See Something, Say Something campaign, CSERT training, Night's Watch, Alice training, college police updates, the Blue Envelope program. This is a very new program which very few of us have heard of. This is a San Diego County initiative. Narcan and campus safety and mental health. But first, I'd like to start off for those who have not had the opportunity to view the campus safety video. It's just a few short minutes, but something that we want to highlight, and a little bit repetitive, but it is a great video. And this is probably 2 or 3 weeks old. There we go. Just check it all the way back, and we're good on the volume. Just in case.
Hello, everyone. Ricky Shabazz, president of San Diego City College. One of our many things is you belong here. And part of belonging is ensuring your safety here while you're on campus. As we transition back to campus, there are a number of efforts underway to ensure your safety. This video is going to highlight many of those efforts that if we're doing our job right, you may never see because they're happening behind the scenes. Sit back, take notes, and let us know what you think, because you do belong here at San Diego City College.
Here at City College, we take your safety and concerns extremely serious. It's important for you to understand that any concerns that you all have are going to be addressed. If you see something on campus, please say something. We rely on you to be our eyes and ears so that we can address all of the concerns that come from you, students, faculty, and classified professionals.
I represent the Student Health Center and the Mental Health Counseling Center, and we want you to know that preventative health care and preventative mental health care is an incredibly important tool that you can use as a student to help manage difficult situations.
It is a great tool. We are the only campus that has it. An application that is available in your app store for either Android or Apple phones. You can download it. It's free. If you are not able to contact campus police by grabbing a phone or ringing a button inside a classroom or one of our blue boxes around campus, you can simply go into your LiveSafe app and you can hit emergency options where it says either call campus police or call 911. I encourage you all to download it. It is a great safety component to San Diego City College.
Night's Watch is a program implemented at City College that comprises of campus community volunteers. The Night's Watch team typically start at 5:30 p.m. and ends at 10:30 p.m. Monday through Thursdays, walking the campus, buildings, and parking structures. They assist with chaperone services as well as assist our campus community with being visible and available when information is needed or issues arise. They are aware of the evening class schedule and use this information to be visible in those areas where we have students and staff. These individuals receive training from our campus police department. Our Night's Watch's responsibility is to report, be an extra set of eyes, and promote safety on the campus.
We've got many tools throughout campus to help us all maintain safety. They're listed on our campus maps. One of those tools is the automated external defibrillators, which help people in need of cardiac arrest or CPR assistance or defibrillation. We've got over 50 AEDs throughout campus that are shown on the campus maps. in the form of a heart where they're located in each building.
If you have any concern whatsoever related to your safety, as an example, if you need an escort to your vehicle, if you see anything suspicious, please feel free to contact us in a variety of ways. I know with City College, we have the Live Safe application that you can put on your phone, and we are moving towards more technology, but we really want to expand the ways that you can communicate with us so that we can provide the best service possible for all of you while you're here. If you see any of our officers, whether they're on foot or on a bike or in a car, please feel free to come up, introduce yourself, let us know if there's anything we can do for you to help you. If you have any questions, that's what we're here for. So we want you to feel comfortable when you see us out there and know that we're here to ensure your safety and to enhance your experience while you're here in the district.
The safety and security of our campus community is our #1 priority. However, safety and security is everyone's job. We work with campus police and facilities to test the blue emergency call boxes. And facilities has also worked overtime in the last year to repair and add additional lighting throughout the campus and to clear shrubs and brushes in inconspicuous places. Please visit our safety website online on our city website and forward any questions, recommendations, or suggestions, concerns that you may have. Remember, safety and security is everyone's job. Hey, Boss Weaver, the team, thank you for that video. And I could tell you in my higher ed career, in admin, I've worked, this is my 5th institution. As an adjunct instructor, I've worked at 8 maybe institutions, and throughout my studies, maybe another 4 institutions. So I've been to a lot of institutions and I've seen pretty much everything. I'm not gonna say everything, but I've seen everything from homicides, murders, suicides, gas leaks, pipe bursts, robbery, you name it. And I've lived across various parts of the state. So we have prepared for as desktop exercise for hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, ice storms, blizzards, you name it. Here in Southern California, we don't have tornado and hurricane, ice storms and blizzards, but we have different types of threats. And so oftentimes when we're talking about health, safety, what are some of the common things that we think? What's the first thing that really comes to mind when we talk about safety, health and safety of the campus? Let's blurt it out, just point it out. What does that mean? It's all of our job. What does that mean? How do I impact health and safety? What is my role?
We're all safety investors. We all have to observe and report.
Observe a report, observe a report, see something, say something. And we get a lot of that. That's why in the video, we encourage, please, we cannot individually be at every place on campus. So it takes a collective effort. And the reason I ask what that means is, thank you. There we go. These are safety events, some things that we may not even think of that are anomalies that have happened on campuses in the last 20 years or so here in the US. We're talking about a student housing fire, electronic data breach. That's something that we can relate to. Virginia Tech shooting and other institutions as well. A lab explosion in a science building, University of Hawaii. If you may recall, the gymnastics coach, Michigan, the scandal there with the gymnast, and University of Iowa LGBTQA discrimination lawsuit in 2017. So safety, health and safety is a really broad connotation, and it's tough to prepare for all of the events. So that's why we have to be active. We have to be vigilant. We have to, as Jay was saying, observe and report anything that looks out of place, anything that looks suspect. Say something to someone. It's better to err on the side of caution and to be conservative. So that's the intro. We'll get in to our training now. We'll start with our director, our local director here at City Campus of Facility Operations, Jay Purnell.
Thank you. You need to explain.
I'll do the slides for you.
Thanks. So thank you everybody for coming. For users, I think I pretty much know everybody here, but I'm Jay Purnell, I'm the facilities site director. I'm also the spa site director. And in that, I'm also the facility site safety officer, and I also work with John and his team to help with campus safety. And about a year ago, they asked me to help relaunch Night's Watch, which was a kind of a concern. We did campus forums, kind of did surveys to find out, what the pulse of the campus, what they needed to feel safe. One of them was to bring back the Night's Watch. We used to have Night's Patrol. It was a daytime event. It was pre-COVID where we had daytime folks only. We didn't have a nighttime service. It was kind of tied into the see something, say something event. So we are relaunching it. I'm in charge of it. We had our first forum last week, and it was open to classified Senate and my facilities folks. Last year we had about 10 people. This year we had 23. So we had 23 folks turn out, and it's a mixture of my facility staff and then classified. And we're also working with Carissa to get some work study students. So in this forum, I basically go over the parameters of what's expected. The biggest thing people think, we're not Lieutenant Stone, we're not campus police. We're not going to run and jump and tackle somebody and arrest them. Our job is to reiterate what John said, is we're just to observe and report. Observe and report and have a presence to make everybody feel safe, especially the students. And I can tell you the feedback from last year, just by them being there, was huge. Just that extra, they know they're there. The team usually meets when they know that, like John said, they have the class schedule. They're usually where the buildings are when the classes get out, helping students, teachers to their classes. But part of it is they all go through training. We have training scheduled with Lieutenant Stone this week and next week. To kind of go over, what the expectation is, what we can and can't do, all that, because it's just observe and report. And Lieutenant Stone will stress, because I've been one of them where a lot of times we'll walk by somebody and it's like, oh, I don't want to call, I don't want to get into trouble, I don't want to bother campus police, it's kind of uncomfortable how to make that phone call. But I've learned over the years, I've been here 6 years now, to call. So many times I've called and we've saved somebody's life. We've got somebody off the street that shouldn't be on the street. So when in doubt, just call. Because all they're going to do, they're going to come and they're going to do a welfare check. Maybe they need help, maybe they don't. No harm, no foul. So we stress to everybody, because we can't be everywhere. We can, there's only so many of us, and like John was saying, observe and report. There's eyes everywhere. It's a simple phone call. Even if you call facilities, you don't have to call campus police. You can always call facilities and say, hey, there's unusual activity, there's a bag, whatever the case may be. So just call.
In addition to calling, if you have the LiveSafe app, just report it on the LiveSafe app, because it goes directly to dispatch. I receive it, the CSERT team receives it right away. You have to be specific in the location and what you're reporting, because it won't give the location. So sometimes we receive a report, parking garage, kids loitering. We don't know what parking garage, so we need as much detail as possible when it's being reported through the LiveSafe app. And I also wanted to add to the Night's Watch. We'll be expanding the Night's Watch for day patrols. This is breaking news as of today. I met with ASG yesterday, and there were some concerns regarding an increase in incidents in certain areas, certain common areas throughout campus. So we're exploring expanding Night Watch to day, perhaps, for those common areas where we're seeing an increase in those reports. So more information to come on that.
Okay.
And we'll talk about it.
And like John was saying, the LiveSafe app, you can file a report anonymously too. So if some people don't want their name to be known, or you can actually send it it's just a text message. It goes right to dispatch. That's it. There is no, there's no response. They don't come find you, anything like that. It's just an alert to dispatch.
Yeah, you don't need to do a report or anything. That's just it. They're responding right away to that incident or that report.
And continue with the Night's Watch. It's Monday through Friday. The hours are actually 5 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. And we do also work with campus police with an escort service. So typically, if there's a student or a faculty member, if you need an escort to your car, wherever you need to get, you can call dispatch, and dispatch will either contact the campus police officer or they'll contact my team. And usually within 10 minutes, they arrive and they'll get you to where you need to go. And also with LiveSap, you can ping, like your family members can watch where you're at. You can ping, you can send them a ping on LiveSafe app, and you can actually watch you walk into your car, getting to where you need to go. So, and all of the Night's Watch team, they're all CPR trained, all AED trained. They go through, like I said, Lieutenant Stone's training. So they're prepared for an emergency response. So, and the see something, say something, just to read what Ricky said, what John said, we're all safety ambassadors, all of us. And especially the ones that have been here long enough, it's, we're an urban campus, there's always going to be activity. It's just a simple phone call. Simple phone call, text message, like I said. Has everybody seen the blue lights, the blue emergency?
Yes.
They're actually on the map. There's a map that John has on here. There's some out on the wall. There's one out here. There's one on the A building, MS quads. They're all over the campus. Essentially what it is, it's an emergency call box. You go, you push the button, it goes right to dispatch. And then dispatch will say, and they know the location where you're at. Once you push that button, it tells them where you're at, what location. You can tell them your emergency, and then we'll say help. But there's also the red emergency buttons. They're in the classrooms. There's one in counseling. Mental health has one, and those go right to dispatch too. These are all, the red buttons are tested every 6 months to make sure, because it gives your location. And the blue call boxes, we have a company that services them when there's issues. Any questions about any of this so far?
I would like to add to that, Jay, as well. In meeting with ASG yesterday, they recommended to me adding more of these blue light call boxes throughout campus. Specifically, they asked around the LRC on C Street. There's one right now on Park on the front side of the LRC, but where the elevator is that C or B? B Street, thank you. B Street, where the elevator is into the garden, because that's an ominous spot. It's not a high traffic area, but students do traverse through there along with employees. So they recommended that location and another location, I believe between L and C. But we're exploring looking at that as well. Perhaps at a previous institution, I helped write a grant to receive $75,000 to install more blue boxes. We'll look to see if there's another grant out there for a funding alternative for us.
CSERT, does everybody know we had an earthquake last week? We had the great shakeout last week. Show hands who knew we had the great shakeout. It was a good event. It was a good learning experience for us. We activated the CSERT team for the first time in 3 or 4 years. We had about 15. Who was on the CSERT team in there? Tammy was there, and Neri was there. So we all met here. We rolled out. We actually have new radios that we got from campus police. We actually did an exercise with campus police. So we have direct contact with campus police. And then we went department to department and just kind of talked to folks about what do you do when there's an earthquake? It's amazing. A lot of people didn't know. We talked about a lot of people would run out of buildings, and the best thing, we talked about is hide, duck and cover. Duck and cover. And the biggest thing was, if everybody runs out of the building and we have to do inventory of who's in that building, we know Ricky's there, Marciano, all these people, and they all left the building. We don't know where anybody is. So we talked about that. And it was a mixed bag because everybody should have got a text message and an email. How many people got both of them? It was 10:20 was the time that it went down. We didn't get it till about 20 minutes later. So we're still working out the details with the alert system. They also were testing Lieutenant Stone is going to talk about a new program that they're working on. We were testing that. So it was a 50-50 mixed bag. Half the people got the messages, half the people didn't. Some got it a half hour later, some got it within 20 minutes. But we are starting to see CSERT training. So there will be a campus email going out. It's actually a fun thing. It's You learn safety, there's training, there's team building, it builds community. And please join. If you haven't been, even go through the training, even if you don't want to be, like, come to the meetings and everything. We're working with Lieutenant Stone to bring the training back. And once it's back, I encourage everybody to sign up for it, because it's good training. You get CPR training, you get AED training, you get life-saving training, how to save people, things like that. And it's fun. You get a green backpack, a green hat. So there's that part.
Reflective vest.
Reflective vest.
Can you remind me how often we have the AED and CPR training?
So CPR is every 3 years.
Every 3, that we offer it on campus?
Yes.
Okay, every 3 years.
The certificate's good for 3 years.
Okay.
But I am, because part of the Nice Watch program, there's about 5 people that aren't CPR trained, so we will be having another training. So if you don't have CPR training, we'll put an email out and everybody can join us.
And it's paid for, it's free.
It's through the campus, and it's the 8-hour course, so it will be CPR, AED, and they also do a little light triage, like broken arms, how to stop bleeding, things like that. So any questions about CSER?
Shelley, you do have a question?
I don't have a question about CSER. I was kind of going to go back to Night's Watch.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just wanted to encourage everyone to use that. We had the classified forum last week, and thank you to Sean Ryan and folks who sponsored that. And we had people talking about the Night's Watch, that how long does it take for them to come and pick you up and that type of stuff. And I've used it, and literally, it doesn't take any time. You're not waiting a half an hour or anything like that. You're literally waiting a few minutes, and then you have some company to walk into your car. I think sometimes people are like, I don't want to disturb them, want to bother them, but I said to the officer that came by to pick me up, I said, "Hey, I don't do this. All of you are going to know if something happens and I didn't use it, right?" So better off to just call and be safe and have company. So I just wanted to put that out there. We hear it, but not everybody will use it. So just highly encourage people to do it.
Absolutely. That's,
Or sometimes we leave in a group, right, in our
Yeah.
office, so we all each get it.
no, and that's a good point, Tilly. Thank you for adding that. Please do use it. I mean, they're there. That's what they sign up for. That's what they're trained for. And they rove in twos, at least twos, teams of 2 for safety purposes, obviously.
Yeah, they're never alone. It's depending on who's available that week. There's always a team of 2, sometimes 4. And they literally, they walk every inch of campus. They're not in carts. They go through every inch of the campus. And they're there to provide a service, and they're to help you if you need it. And sometimes when you do call for the service, it depends on who's available first, either campus, because campuses obviously could be tied up, then they'll call us. So it's kind of a mixed bag of dispatch will usually determine who they send. So, yes.
Night Watch will be part of the Live Safe Watch. Will Night Watch be a part of the Live Safe Watch?
And yes, you can request the service through the Live Safe app. You send a text message, it goes to dispatch, and then you'll get a response. So that is a good question. What he asked is if you can request the service through Live Safe, correct? Is that?
Yeah, it's just because like Live Safe is already on campus.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can request the service through Live Safe. It's a text message but through the app, you can send a text.
So what is the number that we're supposed to call?
619, I'm gonna give it to you right now. 619-388-6405. That's the direct line to dispatch. That's
But if you have the app,
if you have the app, correct.
One button, right to dispatch.
It goes right to dispatch. Thank you. No, we're still working on it.
That'll be forthcoming. We'll send, pardon me?
3-day course.
3-day course, yes. We'll
It's
send an announcement out.
a very intense course. It's very informative. You go through, it's 10 hours of first aid, CPR, life and rescue. Then you actually go out into the environment and you apply these things that you've learned. You go save somebody, you do lifting, you do cribbing, everything that they teach you in this class, you spend a day doing it out in the field.
And it's super fun.
Yeah, and they usually have it last time they had it, we did it at Miramar College because they have the fire academy there. So they utilize the fire academy. Tammy?
Does the CSER line or just for?
It's gonna be for the campus.
Great questions. Any others? Good. All right, thank you, Jay.
Oh,
One more
sorry.
update?
Regarding COVID, we also do have masks, sanitizers, and tests available. So if you need something, you can either contact business service office or my team. And then we were talking about this review of service. There's the freestanding Shurell stations out there. I'm responsible for those. So if there's one out in your department, it's empty, just email me or call the office and let us know and we'll come by and refill it. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. I even saw a gas mask stored in one of the incubators, right? Is that for a biological attack or something? It was an oxygen tank with the gas mask. Just a high level overview of some of the campus training, upcoming and reintroduction. Campus leadership take back the night, where we actually walked the campus at night, late at night, after daylight savings time. And that's how we were able to identify all of these lights that were out along Park Boulevard, P Building, Harry West Gym, all over the place, Garfield. And it took us about 9 months to work with the city for them to finally get out. So I serve on the board of San Diego Downtown Partnership, the Health and Clean, I believe, committee. They had to hire someone in a third party. They were so backlogged to hire a third party and paid upwards of $100,000 or so to help fix the lights throughout downtown. And they made our campus one of the priorities. Campus community safety forums such as this, and we'll have more in the future. Great shakeout, as Jay just discussed, the CCERT Academy and the Alice Active Shooter Training, which Lieutenant Stone will be talking about here briefly. Just wanted to point out the map that is online. This is available online, which shows the locations of the blue call boxes that's denoted by a blue heart. So this is the legend here, the emergency call boxes that are dispersed throughout the campus. So, and meeting with ASG yesterday, they wanted one over here in this area. And one, I believe it was, might have been this area. We do have one at the L building and over by M as well. So we're going to be exploring that. We're doing an assessment to determine, one, where we can put them in the feasibility and then the funding resources for that. Also on here, we have the location of the AED devices, automated external defibrillators. We just added another one in the D building. So we have, is this north? This is this north wall.
So there's one over by students.
One by students, and we had one by the mural. One right out here. So we'll update this to reflect too in the D building. John Boyce has the statistics on this. I think we have upwards of 40 or so AEDs throughout the campus, and we have more that we can place upon request. We just fielded another request last week. We have handicap parking that's identified, and even lactation rooms are on here also, and fire lanes. This is updated regularly, so please download the latest iteration. I keep it in my binder. I take a picture of it and keep it on my phone. I save it as a favorite. I have it on my desktop. Please visit this and become familiar with it.
Oh,
Sorry, yes.
yeah, I just also noticed that on West Boulevard, it's a little bit vulnerable. I can see like any like blue call box.
Along Russ Boulevard?
Yeah, on the very top, there's one like, there's one AED box, but I don't really see like any like blue box.
You're saying right up in here?
Like on the very top, like on Russell Boulevard.
Oh, way up there.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
Yeah, so you're thinking by P3 up in the upper left. Yeah, that's
That road right there.
yeah, that's Harry West, right across from the high school, and you know what, that's a good point. That wasn't pointed out, so
Right there,
that's,
student health services.
that'll be by student health services. Well, there's one in the A building and the T building. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking parks. You said Russ. Thank you for pointing that out.
Sure.
The one that's like also connected to.
Yeah.
High school, yeah.
And that's a good point. That'll be considered because this year, when those lights were out, we still had students that were walking down Rushbrook in the dark.
Yeah.
San Diego High School students, as well as our students, and faculty and staff, because they're coming from the T and A building, walking around Rush Street. So it's very common. So good point. Thank you for pointing that out. So John Boyce, our coordinator, occupational environmental health and safety coordinator, conducted an audit of the campus. I don't know when the last time we had one as an environmental occupational health and safety audit. Actually, we did pretty good. We do have training on how to operate fire extinguishers, and this is something that he can train on it as well. It seems easy. No one really pays particular attention to a fire extinguisher unless you've had to use one. Who's actually had to use one before? Anyone? 2, 3, 4, 5 people? I have as well. And there are different types. The reason why we have training is one, how to use it and what to use it on. Can't just use it on everything unless there's a code, and it doesn't happen here. There are codes on the side of the fire extinguisher. There's Alpha Bravo or A, B, C, D, and E. A is for anything that can leave an ash, B is for liquid, C is for electronics, I believe, and D is for metals, and I forget what E is for. So if you have an A, B classified fire extinguisher, you can't use it on electronic, vice versa. If you have a C and D, you can't use it on anything that leaves an ash or liquids. And I don't know, Jay, do you have an idea of what ours are classified as? Up to E. Yeah, so it is up to E. So we can do everything except for metals, because a metal takes like a halon system or something to put it out because of the fire extinguisher won't do it justice. Yes.
And then we also do service.
Yes, they have to be serviced every year by a third party, and they service our fire alarms as well, in addition to the fire extinguisher. So they have to be signed off. And that's one thing that John audited to make sure that they were signed off and inspected within the year. But passed, acronym for pull the pin, aim at the base, squeeze the trigger, and sweep. That's all you do with a fire extinguisher. 6, 8, or 12 inches or so, not right on top of it, not too far away. Happy to report that we passed all of our fire extinguishers. Remind me how many you think we have? About 565 throughout the campus. So that's a huge undertaking for someone to inspect all those. They'll exchange them out or they'll recharge them. They will still be recharged. So please, in your work areas, identify. This is something I do. Whenever I go into any building, I identify several things. Emergency exit. I don't sit my back to the door. Fire extinguisher and what I can use as a weapon if something goes down. Like a chair, a table, a fire extinguisher, a blunt force object. These are things that I identify, but you should know where fire extinguishers are in your area and all of your emergency exits as well. Something else that John did in his audit is just trip and safety hazards, chairs, extension cords, and the biggest one, I can tell you this, I am the biggest offender of this. Most times folks will see me walking across campus, answering Ricky's emails and texts, and not watching where I'm going. Because 30,000 injuries for walking alone in an 8-year period. Most do occur at home, so that means the others happen at work or out in the community or whatnot. But this is something I have to really be cognizant of, because I'm trying to walk down the stairs and I'm still texting and emailing like many of us do. I've seen folks break their hips, break their legs, wrists. What's that? Yes. Driving, texting, email. We don't have a high instance of this, but I do see the potential because we all, students and employees, we all do it alike. So this is one of the reports in his audit. LiveSafe we talked about. Please download the LiveSafe. You can go to the App Store. And as Jay was discussing, sort of like for those of you who have the tracking app on your phone where you can track a family member or your kids and see where they are, you can do the same thing with LiveSafe. So I could call up Diego, it's 9 o'clock. I'm leaving my building. I'm just gonna hit you on LiveSafe so you can just watch me, make sure I get to my car. And after that, you can hang up. If you see me, I'm stopped somewhere, that means something happened, call me or something. It's similar. It's the same thing. The tracking app that Dave was talking about on LiveSafe. And actually here's the button on it. So it's the GoSafe. It's called GoSafe. Emergency dispatch. The reporting, that's the one where you report an incident. give as much detail as possible. If it's an emergency and you don't have time or you're frantic, you need to be calling emergency option first, dispatch, and give them as much information as you can, even when you're calling dispatch, so that they can respond, be prepared, and know where to go. And the safety map actually is an interactive map. So you push it, it shows where you are, where you're going. And I don't think I have that feature down, but it's just an interactive map of where you are on the campus to help you navigate.
So going back to the example that you said, so you can call someone in and they can see your location, you see when you stop and where you go.
I'm sorry, you don't call them. You can assign some, I think it's assign or dedicate someone to track you where you are and where you're going. I said call, like if you see that I haven't made it to my destination, you may want to call me just to make sure that I made it, but it's not a call function. It's just a sharing your location and your route.
Jonathan, and if I could add, because I got asked this question a lot about the sharing feature video, is that it only allows them to share when you allow them to do it. So you designate when it starts, and then when you get to your location, it turns off. So it's not like someone can track you anytime that they want to.
That's a good point.
You actually have to activate it and share it
At that moment, correct. It's not 24/7. Also, Health and Safety Committee. I'm the chair of the Health and Safety Committee, and we have open meetings, and I invite folks to come sit in one of the meetings, to send any suggestions, recommendations, concerns. We'll add it to the agenda, and every constituency is represented at the Health and Safety meeting. We meet on the 4th Thursday of each month at 10 a.m. and it's virtual. But in the near future, we're going to start meeting in person periodically, perhaps at least once a semester. So we make recommendations or advise college department, constituencies, groups, administration on all health and safety matters. Everything goes. Nothing is off the table. We want to hear from you. The biggest concern right now that we're hearing is the increase in incidents on campus in certain areas, particularly the AH and the MS building. So we're addressing that, and communication will be forthcoming of how we're going to resolve that with recommendations going forward. But please send anything to me or your representative that is on the committee regarding any suggestions. With that, we'll have Acting Lieutenant Jason Stone with updates, college police updates, and ALICE training.
How's everybody doing? So if we learned anything, whose responsibility is safety? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's all of our responsibility, right? It's a team effort. A lot of the stuff I could say would reiterate what Dr. Parker, President Shabazz, Jay have already said. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I will move on, but later on, I will also come back up and touch on a couple of these things that we've already kind of gone over. First thing, how many people have attended ALICE training? Did you enjoy ALICE training? Was it fun? It's a good 4-hour block, right? Everybody should attend ALICE training. Why? Because you never know. You want to be prepared. The thing is, some of the lessons you might learn in ALICE training, you'll be able to share with your family and friends. You'll be able to share with your children that might be in grade school, junior high school, high school. You're telling them what they might do if they were faced with an active shooter. So you're able to take that and not only take it to your offices, your coworkers, your colleagues, your students, but also home as well. So what the training does is it first goes over a classroom portion, talks about active shooter, talks about past history of active shooter, what you might expect in active shooter. So many of them are very relatable, right? We know that somebody that's involved in active shooter often rehearses and takes cues from the prior incidents. So they train on those type of things. And then the class ends with a hands-on session where you actually are forced and faced with an active assailant and how you would respond. How we provide ALICE training, our department has several officers and a sergeant that are ALICE certified trainers. That's a national organization. They've gone through a week-long training and then a periodic updated training to teach this course. So they will come, you can request this course for your office, your entire building, your area your area of responsibility. And you can, we normally do it on Friday afternoons and it's about a 4-hour block. So I would suggest that everybody take this, get together with your colleagues, especially if you're in one area like the LRC, the S building, and get that group together. And we like to have at least 10, 15, 20, 25 participants. The more, the better, the more engaged people become. And again, like somebody said about CERT, you make friends as well. These are just some of the facts about ALICE training. If you go into why, there really is an answer to why, but it's up there. But the why is not as important as how are we going to respond to these things. One of the important things you can always, even without the training, keep in mind is run, hide, and fight. And that's what I teach my kids. In those 3 situations, when you would run is when you have time to run. If I get a text alert on LiveSafe or any other means, like the earthquake that rolled out on Rave, if you get an alert that there's an active assailant somewhere on campus, you hear something and it's way off in the distance, can I run or should I hide? I'm gonna run. I got plenty of time to run. That is way over there. I'm gonna go way over here and I'm gonna get away. And the thing is, you have to take care of yourself. You have to get away yourself. You can't stand around and wait for others. They have to take care of themselves as well. The next thing is if it's somewhere close by, say in the cafeteria area, is there an opportunity for me to hide? I can't go out there. He might see me crossing the quad and it's an open area. I don't want to necessarily run by him. So can I turn off the lights, lock the doors and hide in this area? Can I secure this area? And then the last thing is like Dr. Parker said, he looks for a sharp object, something that dull object, heavy object, that he'll be able to do battle with. Say you're faced with an assailant, maybe you're the last one in the classroom, maybe you're in your office, something like that. What do you have around that you'll be able to defend yourself with? Stapler, remote, phone, scissors, a number of things. What can I do? Because now it is right in front of me. It's too late to run and I can't hide. He's looking at me. So now it's time to fight. And it's the fight for your life. So please, I encourage you, if you would like to do ALICE training, reach out to me directly by email and we can set it up. Again, we're basically any Friday throughout the entire semester. It doesn't have to be a certain time of year, like before the semester or before at the end of the semester. Anytime we can set that up for you. For the women in class and the men, because now we have RAD for men, but RAD is Rape Aggression Defense. This is a 2-day course. Again, this is a national organization. All colleges and universities are mandated to teach RAD. So our instructors go to a 5-day training. It's usually never in San Diego, so they have to travel for 5 days to get this training to be certified instructors. How we did it in the past, we would do it on 2 consecutive Saturdays, but now beginning this fall, we are changing it. We're going to do it on back-to-back days, so it'll be on a Saturday and Sunday. What you'll learn is the first day will be a lot of classroom portion. There will be discussion, talks, past incidents, how you're going to respond in these situations before you actually start to learn some of the moves of self-defense. And then the final day, you actually go through scenarios. So this is one of our participants, and this is one of our officers dressed up in the red suits there. So you actually get physical hands-on training. Has anybody attended RAD? Did you like RAD?
I did like that, yes.
So it's very hands-on. You actually have to fight. It is a very good experience. And so we have just scheduled RAD here at City, at Mesa for CE and at Miramar. So we have all of our locations. And I wanted to announce that coming this June, we're actually hosting our very first LGBTQ plus RAD training. So we know that that is a group that has been underrepresented, especially in these type of situations. We know they occur at a very high rate. And so we are providing this training for that group specifically. So the thing is it's always going to be specific to that group because we want people to be able to share past experiences. So when it's the women, you're in a classroom taught by female officers. And then our male and female officers are the ones that will do the fighting combat the next day. But we want people to be free, open, and comfortable to share their experiences during this training. So it's very valuable training. I encourage you to look for those email blasts to come out. and sign up, or encourage those around you if they haven't attended to sign up. Any questions about RAD? Do I have escorts? I think we've touched on escorts.
Yeah.
But please, I think VP Tilly was saying that it doesn't take long. Now, you can always pre-plan. If you know you're leaving the office in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you can call for that escort right now and say, hey, I'm going to be leaving in 10 minutes. They'll dispatch an officer or City Nights, depending on the day of the week and what's going on, to come and provide that escort for you so that once you're ready to leave the office, we're pretty much arriving on scene. But I would encourage you to use the escort service. How many people have ever worked late? Thank you. How many people have ever worked late and by the time you look up, you realize it's dark outside and there's really nobody in the office? I've seen multiple cars here, President Shabazz. So it's a lot of you guys that find yourselves in that situation, right? Where you're busy, you're doing something, or maybe you had another meeting. By the time you return to your office and check your emails and get ready to go, it's an empty campus, ghost town. This could be on a Friday. People are here on the weekends during certain events. So we want to make sure that we utilize the services that are there, which is College Police and the City Nights when they're on duty. Again, that call will go to dispatch. They'll dispatch somebody to be there. But nobody needs to walk across this campus to a darkened parking structure or to a lit parking structure by themselves. Nobody. So please take advantage of that. Does everybody know that you have your own police department? I don't work for San Diego Police Department. I don't work for the Sheriff Department, El Cajon, National City, La Mesa, Chula Vista, Oceanside, Carlsbad. I work for the San Diego Community College District, and you have your own police department. Do not hesitate to use your police department. We are here for you. So somebody said, being uncomfortable about calling, do not ever hesitate or be uncomfortable to call us. The second you hesitate or are uncomfortable, the only reason you thought of it is because you have those spidey senses. They say mother's intuition, that gut feeling. And if you ignore that and don't call us and something were to happen, that would be my worst day of my career. If I went to a situation where somebody was hurt and they're by themselves, and if they were able to say, I thought about calling you, but I didn't want to bother you. That's why we're here. So please take advantage of us.
And if I may also add, Lieutenant Stone sits with me on the district's police advisory committee. I chair that committee as well. So it represents all campuses throughout the district. There are student representatives and there are also community representatives as well. We meet once a month. It's on our website. Any suggestions, concerns, or recommendations, please send it up to your representative for the district's police advisory.
Absolutely. Always take input. We want to know what we're doing right. And if you're true to yourself and a true professional, you want to know what you're doing wrong as well or where you can improve. So we're always open to suggestions or anything that can help us better serve our community. I'm going to talk real briefly about this. This is a new program developed by the County Board of Supervisors and also the County Police Chiefs Association, as well as the sheriff. What it is it's a program that is designed for people that might have a disability or a condition that makes it difficult maybe to communicate with law enforcement. This program just rolled out about 2 weeks ago. We were in on day one. We have all of these items here at our station over the B100. I'm attempting to get more items that we might be able to put, say, at DSPS office. So what it is the blue envelope, it's named after the blue envelope. What it is a driver that might have some sort of disability or condition that an officer may not be aware of it. Say if it was a traffic stop, the person could put maybe a hard copy of their driver's license, registration, proof of insurance, information about their condition into that envelope, and they can hold it out. And all officers throughout the county of San Diego are going to know exactly what that is. They'll be able to read it. It may be somebody that has an issue with loud noises. So we don't want our sirens. We don't want to be yelling. We don't want to do things like that. And it could be they have sensitivity to flashing lights. We want to make sure that our lights are turned off so that we don't incite anything in them physically. It could be they are nonverbal. There could be a number of things. And now that's going to help us communicate with them even better. So along with the blue envelopes, if you were in a vehicle, there's a number of wearable items as well. There's lanyards, bracelets, keychains, to name a few. of the things that individuals can wear on themselves and identify themselves as having that sort of need. So that's another program that if you have anybody either here at school or at home, and you want them to get outfitted something like this, we do supply these items so that they can communicate and we can make sure that we're able to reach and share with the community as a whole and not, again, kind of like Brad, not have anybody left behind or not hurt.
So what, could I have a deaf employee, where would I send that? Campus police or DSP?
Right now, the college police, because we have the items there. I'm trying to get another batch of items to have housed at DSPS. Of course. Any other questions?
And oh, Elaine did join us out in the back here. Thank you, Lieutenant Stone. I just wanted to add before I introduce Elaine, I mentioned, and thank you, Dina, who is watching. I mentioned that the meeting for the Health and Safety Committee is the 4th Thursday, and it is the 1st of every month. But if you go to the website, it'll list the actual dates that we host our Health and Safety Committee. Thank you. Thank you, Dina, as well. Now we'll introduce Elaine Ng, our Director of Student Health Services or Student Health Clinic. Thank you.
This one?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm here to talk to you about Narcan and the opioid epidemic. So just a brief overview. Over the past 20 years, we've seen an exponential increase in opioid-related deaths. So in the 90s, it was related to prescription opioids like Vicodin, Percocet. And then in about 2010, heroin came into the picture. And around 2013, fentanyl use started to increase. But what has caused this exponential increase is that fentanyl is being mixed with other drugs. And fentanyl, you can't really see it, smell it, taste it, and it's pretty hidden. And so, one pill really can kill. And as little as 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. And they're mixing it with different drugs. It looks like candy. It can be put into, an edible gummy. So it is something where people may not know that they are actually ingesting or taking it. And so one of the new tools, tools that have existed and medications that can help reverse an opioid overdose is Narcan. And it helps to restore breathing. It's a nasal, it comes in different forms, but it's over the counter. It's a nasal spray, and it's not a treatment for opioid use, but you can try to see if it helps restore breathing. So some of the activities and initiatives we've had on campus related to enable to provide education and access to our campus community is that at the Student Health Clinic, we have Narcan in stock. We also have fentanyl test strips available. We have been offering Narcan educational sessions. So members of the campus community, AODS, as well as the Student Health Clinic and Mental Health Counseling has offered flex education sessions. I've given some educational training to some of the departments. We have a great partnership with the Harm Reduction Coalition of San Diego, who has also worked with the County of San Diego to provide us with this very useful medication. On our campus, there's also the City College Opioid and Harm Reduction Committee led by Professor Wendy Reel. If you're interested in advocacy work or trying to expand education about what's going on in this arena, definitely reach out to her. And also to let you know, the Health and Safety Committee recently has been working on a feasibility assessment of being able to dispense Narcan in a vending machine. So just quickly, some signs and symptoms of opioid overdose, awareness, a person might be unresponsive, they won't wake up. You want to look at their breathing, their breath might be slow, they might be choking, it might sound like they're snoring, and their color. You might, see some, palish blue color on them. But you really don't know what the issue is, it could be a number of reasons why they're unconscious. So the most important thing is that if someone has experienced a medical emergency, you call 911 and call campus police. But just a quick pictorial visual, this is what, Narcan, nasal spray looks like. You tilt their head, you insert into your nostril, and, you press. And I've put some training video QR codes up here so you can view on your own. You can also schedule an appointment at the Student Health Clinic for more education. And where can you find Narcan? You can find them at the Student Health Clinic, at the County of San Diego Public Health Centers. And you can also get Narcan delivered to you if you call this phone number or you go to the website. And today, for all those who are here in person, I brought everyone a box and some education information. And I also brought some COVID test kits as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Elaine, very much for that overview. This one, are there any questions regarding? Yeah.
I wanted to make a statement. This crisis breaks my heart. I commute into work, so I walk through our communities every day, and I see this every day. This is a real issue. So I applaud the services that you guys provide.
Oh, thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. And I think we all, we all do and recognize it.
So in your educational series, is that where you like teach like how to identify an OE or how to
Yes, I mean, it can be, how you identify like the signs and symptoms.
Yeah.
I talked a little bit more about, how to use it, what's,
Is this something that gets set up with my team, like you've done in the
Sure,
state there,
yeah.
ready to do the full training?
definitely, yeah. I mean, it can be, yes, depending on your need, you can definitely assist.
Okay.
Question. It says, get national strictly, is that free or it has a cost?
No, so it would be free. So this organization, you can call them or you can go and email them and they may be able to provide you with a free delivery. So this group actually goes out into the communities a lot. So people who, may be houseless or, they're very, very active in the community. In the downtown area, actually across San Diego, in providing resources. And they'll also help, say you're interested in giving, helping out your community, they can partner with you as well. They are my friends. So, yes.
So can I hurt somebody if I administer it to them?
So I will say 99.9999%, there's no harm. I can't say 100 ever, right? So you can administer it, from, babies to older adults. It only works to reverse an opioid, if it's an opioid related item. So if you, you use it and it doesn't work, then, it may be something else. However, some people need 2 doses. So, and this is part of the education we go through the training. Yeah, but it's very, very good question for sure.
And I can add to that as well that in California, we're protected by the Good Samaritan law for administering Narcan if you injure someone. And speaking of 2, I think we had an incident in the last couple of weeks where it was 8. Up to
Yes,
one
up to
person
8 doses.
got up to 8 doses.
There's no limit on what you
Yes.
can keep going, so paramedics get there, take over.
Yeah.
Chances are when they get there, they're going to actually be administering more market.
Mhm. And I just wanted to add, do we have a question? I'm looking at this amount on the head of that pencil and next to that penny. So it can be lethal. That's if it's ingested. What happens if someone just touches that or comes in contact with that amount?
I mean, there's I mean, there's some absorption through your skin and, I mean, you do have some effect. That's a really good question, and I probably need to do a little bit more research on it as to like the half-life and, you know, what the actual effects are. But I know definitely with ingestion, it is.
And I just want to add one more thing that you mentioned, the feasibility of the machine. So we were approved for the machines by the district for liability purposes, and we're protected under the California Good Samaritan law. And I believe, and Masa, I may defer to you from the Health and Safety Committee, there's a back order on the dispensing machines from the manufacturer. Is that correct?
Yeah, Wendy's reached out to our production, San Diego, they're trying to locate the machine.
Yes.
See if they find it then.
Yeah. Especially in colleges and universities, yes. So there's a back order, and as soon as we receive an update, we'll communicate that, but the order is in, we're approved, and we'll get it as soon as we can. Any other questions for Elaine? Thank you very much. Good job. And now allow me to introduce someone who needs no introduction, Leslie Easton, our Director of Mental Health Counseling.
Hey, everybody. I'm gonna stand over here. I can see the camera. So my name is Leslie Easton. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am the director of the Mental Health Counseling Center. And I am really, really excited to be a part of this safety presentation for a bunch of reasons. And I'm really happy to kind of be here to maybe possibly wrap it up a little bit. Because so much of what we've talked about today are physical resources that we have, things that you can arm yourself with physically. And that is so important that our campus takes this so seriously and is providing so much access to the Live Safe apps and the AEDs and the blue lights. What I want to talk to you about is how are you prepared for safety? Because to be honest with you, if you're not prepared personally, you're going to struggle a little bit with being able to access these things. And so that's a little bit of my focus today. You may be like, mental health, safety, how does that go together? Well, this is how it goes together. I want to give you a little snapshot of what our campus looks like. All of you have been here for a little while, so you probably know, but some data from last year, about 2,200 appointments were attended. We offer a lot more than that, but we don't charge anything, so we do have some no-shows. 111 of those students presented in crisis. And as a little update to this, yesterday, 4 students in one day came in crisis. And by crisis, we mean life-threatening crisis. They are worried that they are not safe. We did hospitalize 1 student yesterday. They did go voluntarily. The other 3 we were able to work with and create safety plans for them where we felt confident that they could go home and follow up with care. But we are living in a mental health crisis. And that does show up in many, many ways. At intake, 38% of our students reported having strong to extreme distress. That's a lot of students that are walking around feeling distressed. 24% reported suicidal ideation in the last 38 days. That's 1 in every 5 students that's thinking about suicide. This is who's coming into your office. This is who's coming into your classroom. 58% reported having suicidal thoughts over their lifetime. 18% reported a previous attempt. So again, it's a pretty shocking number. If you haven't seen the data before, it's pretty shocking that this is what's walking around. 2% reported thoughts of hurting others in the last 30 days. And so important to know that this is what we're doing. And so why am I sharing this information about our students? How is this relevant to our safety? One thing I know, yeah, go ahead, Miriam. I mean, well, it's not just the city college challenge, it's nationwide.
It is a nationwide challenge, and you know what that means? That is why I shared this with you, so you can have some empathy and understanding of what's walking around the campus, but also this is reflective of us. We're people too, we're living this world too, we're living in these really challenging, unstable times. And so we're all walking around like this, and so knowing that
and being intentional. So you all are here today, those of you that are online that are listening, so important to be intentional about taking care of your own safety. How do we use this information to enhance our ability to create and maintain a safe campus? Well, because safety starts with you. And I'm going to tell you that the most important thing that you can do, and I know this is going to sound woo-woo, but it's self-care, is really paying attention to how are you feeling when you come to work? Are you doing any kind of emotional regulation, or are you just coming in and kind of rolling through the day, you know, whatever comes, comes? Are you checking your gas tank? I'm gonna cover that, just, you know, really short presentation, but check your gas tank. How many of you sit in your car for a minute or 2 or 5 before you get out of the car? That makes me happy. Why do you do that? Ricky, why do you do that?
To gather my thoughts, assess the lay of the land before I get out of my car.
Exactly. And it's 5 minutes, or maybe it's 2. So that can make the difference between you being able to utilize all of these safety tools that have been presented today and not being able to utilize that. Check your gas tank. Am I okay today? Do I need to take extra space? Do I need to reach out to one of my colleagues and say, hey, today my gas tank's like full. So if you see me struggling a little, could you help? This is us, we're a community. It's so important. Emotional regulation, what is that? Okay, you know, it's psychology, right? There was. It's not that hard, but this is something you can do anytime during the day. You can do this in your car even before you come in. So it's your ability to create a pause between your emotional reaction. And we do have, how many of us have felt emotionally reactive in a situation that's escalated? I mean, I do, yeah. I mean, we're human, right? We're gonna be activated. So when you get activated, we need space. So you stop. Take the stop sign, interrupt your thoughts. You can literally say the word stop. You can picture a stop sign, but stop before you speak, before you take that next move. Take a deep breath. How many of you have watches that remind you to breathe? It's an interesting thing, it's super annoying, but it is annoying. But what I will say that every now and then I realize when it goes, I can't remember the last time I actually breathed all the way in, and all the way out.
Yeah.
And when you do it, you can do it now if you want.
Yes.
When you do it, you feel yourself, like your brain gets a little clearer, your shoulders drop a little bit. It's a simple thing to do, but you're not going to do it if you're not doing it on purpose. So that's what I'm talking about. Check your gas tank. Take a deep breath, observe. What thoughts am I having? What emotions am I having? Do I need to ask somebody for help? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We do lots of things around the campus to help both students and employees. And so mental health counseling is for our students. We do direct service for our students. I know I'm preaching to the choir, probably everybody in here knows. But we do culturally relevant counseling. We, besides, you know, the trainings and all of that, we do have staff that are representative of our students. We have English speakers, Spanish speakers, Arabic speakers, German. We are really feel like it's important to have students feel like they can speak with somebody that might understand their situation. So please don't be afraid to encourage students to come, and students, if you're listening, come on. Free, confidential, they're effective. Don't have a wait list. Don't have session limits. We think it's really important to work with each person individually, and making an appointment is easy. Okay, so preach it to the choir there. Resources that we have, some for students, some for faculty and staff, some for both. Timely care, how many of you guys have heard of timely care? This is new this semester, and we can thank Marciano and his leadership for bringing timely care to us. We can thank Equity, Basic Needs, Mental Health, Student Health. It's been a collaborative effort to bring timely care here. One of the things we know is we don't have wraparound care for our students, and it's not feasible. We're not really going to be able to do that. I can't be here 24/7, and I'm not going to be on call 24/7. So timely care is for students, although they do have resources for faculty and staff to link students to care, but not direct care for you all. It is 24/7, 365 days a year. It is a crisis talk line. We train counselors, multiple languages. They can do that by video or by phone. It is also 24/7 medical care, and the medical care is wraparound care. They can do scheduled visits, they can do nurses clinic, they have nurses, doctors, nurse practitioners, they can write prescriptions, they can help them access free prescriptions. And the best thing about it is that they work collaboratively with us. So anytime a student is seen, we get a report. The following morning, we'll come in and we'll have a report that that student is in services, so then we are able to reach out to that student and make sure that we're coordinating care. Does that make sense? So they're not to replace us, they are our partner in healthcare. And that is the same for basic needs. They offer basic needs case management and resourcing. So I just really want to be sure you all know that that's there for our students. Headspace, how many of you have Headspace on your phones? Oh my goodness. Okay. You guys need to get Headspace. We have paid for this through mental health funds to be sure that you all have an opportunity to have access to meditation, self-care, affirmations. We used to have an app called Shine that was a women of color owned business. They were integrated into Headspace, so they have a lot of culturally relevant things. And I really want to encourage you all. This is part of that intentionality. We're self-care to make sure your gas tank is full when you come to work, so that if you need to push the blue button, right, or if you need to respond to a student crisis, that you have the ability to do that. Yeah.
Are those both free students?
Both are free. Free for students, faculty, staff.
As well as the Calm app, right?
What's that?
The Calm app.
The Calm app through Kaiser, if you have Kaiser, they offer the Calm app. And that is free still. They renewed that this year. This is free. We paid for this. Mental health pays for this, but we negotiated a great rate. So that's normally for the premium is normally about $100 a year. And it's available for you all. At least through June until I can find some more money. Okay, for faculty and staff or employees, we have EAP. I know this is something people don't always reach out to, but they are like we are. They are independent from your healthcare. They're independent from the district. 5 confidential sessions. They'll do in-person or teletherapy. They can do kind of anything, and you get 5 sessions per qualifying incident. If you have questions about it, if you feel like you need a little extra support, especially if it's something that's work related, call them. Go online. They are receptive. They answer the phone and they answer questions. Arm yourself. Be prepared. We have workshops all semester. I know we're talking about the Narcan. I want you to know that one part of that presentation when we do the larger workshop is how do you prepare yourself emotionally and psychologically to administer Narcan. Right? So again, being intentional about preparing yourself to manage a crisis, to manage a safety issue. Validate, appreciate, refer, suicide prevention trainings. These are things that are real, that give you actual tools for you to be prepared to manage a situation that might be a crisis. We have a de-escalation training that we do at least once or twice a semester that talks about best practices for how to engage in a situation where people's emotions are getting high, whether that's an emergency situation or just a student in distress. That is it. This is how you reach me. Any other questions? Yes.
With AEP, is that also available for NAS employees?
That's an excellent question. And what I'm going to tell you is the last time that I talked to EAP, what they told me is they don't typically ask whether you're part-time, full-time, or whatever. They just look to see that you're an employee. But yes.
So if employees come see you.
Can employees come see me? That is the question. The answer is you can definitely email me, call me, walk in and talk to me for a consultation, and I will absolutely sit with you and talk to you, whether that's about a personal issue or whether that's about a family issue or whether that's about how to navigate a difficult student situation. But as far as ongoing therapy, no, we are funded by student health fees and by a mental health grant from the state. We are able to provide things like aromatherapy, meditation, those kind of workshops that we have out on the campus. Those are for faculty and staff as well. So we are able to do that. We are able to bring professional development, but we are not able to offer direct service. Other questions? No, I turn it back over to.
Good job. Before we do a quick wrap up, I'd like to ask Vice President of Student Affairs, Marciano Perez, to come up and talk real quick about student discipline. And Ricky, if you want to add to that as well.
As Marciano is coming up, we are absolutely, first of all, we are so fortunate to have this amazing team, but I want to tease out
that we do have the best mental health program in the country due to Leslie and her leadership. We go into spaces to signify mental health. And her program is second to none. We are seeing an increase in both what we'll call actively disengaged employees and students that are leading to increased student discipline and employee discipline cases. And I do believe it's because of mental health related matters. In fact, I'm going to say that mental health is health, right? We can't separate those two things. And so during the classified forum, we got a question that I thought was necessary to include here with Marciano about how to respond to some of the student discipline related cases. I'm going to go on record as saying I actually have a student right now that is borderline stalking me. And that same student has done that to other employees. And in a lot of cases, we don't know how to respond to those things. And I want to make sure that you leave with the understanding that we support both our students and the folks who work here of not having to endure bullying or unnecessary, unhealthy environments. And a lot of times, folks, this goes into see something, say something. So Marciano.
So, one of the things that I'd like to just really hone in on is that mental health or someone's mental health doesn't absolve them of their responsibilities when it comes to our student code of conduct and how we behave on campus and the expectations that we have on campus. And we've always, our collaborative care team, when we're meeting with students, one of the things we often will talk about is the fact that just because a student might be in a mental health crisis doesn't make it okay for the behaviors that we're asking them to change to continue. And those aren't mutually exclusive, right? So one of the questions that we got from the classified center folks is really around how do we kind of protect our employees at the same time while addressing the concerns of the students, and this feeling that sometimes there's a feeling is that the student is always the most protected person, right? That's at least the feeling out there. And I think it's important to recognize is that, as Ricky mentioned, the health and safety of our campus and our environment is always going to be number one, right? We're going to protect the learning environment, and the learning environment extends to us being able to operate the business of the college every day. And so a student doesn't just get to violate the student code of conduct and then say, oh, but I'm struggling with stress or anxiety, or I've got this condition that will allow me to act out. But what often happens is that folks don't know the outcome of those things because we try and protect the integrity of our process. Students have a right to due process, right? So we're going to always follow our process. And I always just ask that if you ever are involved in a situation like this, then you have a question about well, what's happening? You're always more than welcome to reach out to Adan or I to ask a question. Now, we may not always be able to tell you what's happening. We can absolutely let you know, hey, it's being addressed. We want you to know that something is happening, right, on the back end. But you're not always going to know what exactly that is. It's important, as Ricky mentioned, we're dealing with students that are right now, their life is happening, and it has been really, really challenging and hard for some of our students. And so this adjustment coming back to campus, we've seen an increase in student conduct. Our collaborative care team, which Leslie sits on, and Stone, you sit on it with me, has been quite busy this last semester as we've been just trying to adjust and helping students, again, understand what is the expectations around coming back to campus. But I think the short story is that we're never going to allow a student to disrupt the learning environment, to put any of our other students, faculty, and classified professionals in harm's way. and then not address that behavior. We're always going to make sure that that's something that we pay attention to, that we address, and that we communicate clearly to our students. What is the expectations that we have of them moving forward in order for them to remain a student? Now, the last part of that is that sometimes we get the question of like, well, why can't we just, have a student, I'm worried about the student, can't we just make them go away for a while? And the short answer is no, we can't, because again, students have every right to be here. We want our students to be here. We know that if they're here, they're more likely to get services to address their mental health challenges. We know that for many of our students, this is their home, this is their safe space. So removing them from this is probably gonna make things worse for them and sometimes for us, because once they're not a student, then we don't have some of the things that we can kind of hold to make help students get, to hold them accountable for their behaviors. We sometimes will hold things like, hey, in order to be a student, you need to continue to do that. If you're no longer a student, then I kind of lose that ability to do that. So, so being on campus and being a student is is something that we try and protect. Yes, we want them. It's never going to be. That's my cue. Of the health and safety of our faculty, classified professionals, and other students. So, does that answer what you were trying to get at, Ricky?
Yes, and everything that Marciano said, and I apologize, this was impromptu. As I was listening, I thought there was one thing that I wanted to show you all. Sean, can you? The other thing is everything that Marciano said also implies or applies to employees, right? See something, say something, but even with a student, disciplinary matter, or an employee, you've got to be willing to put something in writing. The process has to be documented in writing. And here's where you go. If you go to the homepage at the very bottom, and this is actually federally mandated, every college is this way. You go to the college's homepage, at the very bottom, it says complaint procedure. And then it's broken up to non-discriminatory and all of that kind of language. The bottom line, student or employee, we take all complaints very serious. That's part of your safety, but you've got to be willing to put something in writing. And I would say 9 times out of 10, when I get to that point, no, I just wanted you to know. You've got to be willing to put something in writing. And this is all of the college's processes to do it. And so we have a standard way of dealing with this, whether it's an employee or a student. We've been doing this for 20 plus years. We get an email. Marciano looked at me funny and I felt uncomfortable. The college and the district take all of these concerns very serious. Here's a link to the college's complaint process. Please fill out the form or the process and we will investigate this matter. 9 times out of 10, it stops there. The person doesn't and isn't willing to do that. And we need to document it, or what's going to get said is, oh, Marciano doesn't like me. He's just going after Jay. Or Ricky doesn't like me. I'm just going after Jay.
Well, we see the behaviors that will escalate, right?
And we could have stopped it in the beginning, right?
They go right back to that behavior that
The only thing I wanted to say is I'm very sensitive to language. And there are words that are loaded, and I think complaint is something that is a loaded word. And it's an old word that I hope that we change at some point, because I think student of concern or incident report, like there are some things that are a little bit, would make it easier for folks to be comfortable clicking on that, because complaint is just a loaded word. So anyway, if it's easier for you to read like student of concern procedure, then read that. So.
Yes, and thank you. And that is absolutely a federal requirement for accreditation that we have a complaint, but it is an outdated, it is an outdated word.
So, and if you go to the student affairs website, it will actually say student of concern.
Yeah.
So, or it'll say just incident report. So it's not on, we're released to the same form, but we say something different on our.
So this is as important as everything else. And sorry, John, for adding this, but I counted that there are approximately 30 people here. There are 300 full-time employees, approximately 1,000 total, about 1,700 students. So collectively, we now all have a huge responsibility to take this information and share it with everyone who didn't come. Caesar's gonna send the PowerPoint and the video to the campus, but we also need you to see something and say something with your colleagues. Maria Jose.
This is really helpful. Thank you so much for navigating through so people can find it, but is there a way that we can make a maybe differentiation between the student and the employee grievances? Because the way it reads is really more student-based, and I'm concerned that employees don't really know what their rights and their processes are. So maybe we can separate a little bit. I don't know.
It's all one form, it's the same process that starts now what happens when we get the report, we'll follow its own process, but this just links to the form, that it's a standard form for both students and employees. Ricky mentioned, it's just one form, and then it'll get filtered out.
And we can add that there. We probably should add a sentence or something there that says that. So, because I agree with you, and I felt that way for a long time.
Well,
I think
for example, grade challenge, that's really nothing to do with employees, student rights, responsibilities, student disciplinary, student grievance.
I'm with you on this one. I actually think it can be exactly the same information in two separate pages. So you can have a complaint procedure, and then you could have if you're faculty and staff, and is a staff concern, but I mean, it takes a little bit of time, but.
Understand that it actually is this is a federal thing, that we gotta go to one site that has both of them. So this is not whether we want it that way or not. The federal government, when they do accreditation, requires that you have it set up this way. That doesn't mean we can't create another separate website.
For students, for employees, you can repeat the forms, but then for students, you put all the forms for students, and then for employees, just the ones, they're the same forms, but employees will know exactly where to go.
Duly noted. Are you writing that down, Caesar? Okay, great. Yeah, it can be dropped down. I get it. Yeah. A better separation, intentional. I hear you.
Just to clarify.
I think that makes sense.
Let me let John wrap it up and then open it up to any questions that you all have, particularly if there was something we didn't cover that you all wanted to capture.
Yes, thank you, Marciano. Thank you, Ricky. When we send the slides out, we'll update it to include this section when Caesar sends it out, and to include the URL for the safety website, which has plenty of resources. As you guys can see, there's just really so much to cover when it comes to health and safety. This is an overview to just garner awareness and interest, and to really share a lot of the resources that we have that we feel are underutilized. So, I mean, how many people learned at least just one thing today?
I saw a lot of people taking notes.
Yeah,
Kudos.
yeah, absolutely.
I see you all. Thank you.
Yes, and that means it was a very successful forum. So once we send this information out, please visit these websites, become familiar with them. It's best to be prepared. We never know when we're going to need any of them. And please reach out if you have any suggestions, any concerns to any one of us that's on the CSERT, campus police, the administrative team, me, health and safety, police advisory. Just say something. That's all. Get the ball rolling, and we'll take it from there. It's not an inconvenience. This is what we do. This is what we've signed up for in our various capacities. With that, any closing questions or comments from anyone before we adjourn? Yes, sir.
Campus safety alerts, what's the current system for that? What is it?
Live safe. Live safe, email, text, the Live Safe. We're piloting Rave, the Rave app, which was used for the Great Shakeout last week. That's at the district level, and that's an alert system that pushes out to the phone number and the email address that's registered with the district. So those are four. So call, the email, Rave, and Live Safe app. Were you adding to that?
I think we need to understand the nature of the question, though, because per the Clery Act and some other federal guidelines, depending on the nature of the act, may trigger what's called a timely warning, which typically goes out via email through the chief of police working with our vice chancellor of student services. So it's going to kind of depend on what the activity is. But John is right, just wanted to expand on a technical definition of a
Depends. Yeah.
timely warning
Yeah.
has a separate standalone process.
Okay, that's the question. Yeah.
I kind of thought that was.
Okay, well, thank you for clarifying. Great question. Any other questions or comments before we adjourn? Going once, going twice. Well, thank you guys very much for attending in person and those online.